Makoto, a teen boy, gets transported to an entirely different world to serve as a hero. Welcome to Anime Recall. Today, I will explain a 2021 anime series called Tsukimichi, also known as Moonlight Fantasy. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The story begins as a young teen gets sucked into a mysterious space where he meets a god that explains that he has to be whisked into an isekai. After making clear why he is currently there and the history of it all, Makoto agrees to be taken to another world as a hero. The goddess is repelled by him and casts him into the depths of the earth, but does not fail to give him special powers of understanding different species. During the course of wandering, he meets a highland orc and gets to protect the species from the great dragon Shen. After having a fight with the dragon, it is intrigued by Makoto's memories and agrees to a pact of sealed contract, so it would serve as a servant to him. Reasons being, they would both benefit from it. The dragon transforms into a human form to serve him properly. Shen, who is now in the body of a beautiful woman, absorbs them into a mist-like world through teleportation. They go back to the Highland Orcs and offer them the opportunity to live with them in the demiplane with them. The Orcs help them to develop the wasteland from scratch in return of the help they offered them. An elder dwarf gets pursued by a spider-like monster, and somehow it traces itself to the demiplane as it thirsts for Makoto's blood. Only he is left to handle the monster himself, but the more he fights it, the more the monster regenerated. After a great hit to the monster, Makoto loses strength and gets unconscious. His female servant speaks with a spider-like dragon and makes a contract on behalf of her master, insisting she should agree to serve him too. She thereby transforms into a human form too, just like Shen did. He is being tended to and wakes up from his unconscious state, just to realize his new situation. Now he has two female servants serving him. The elder dwarf, who was earlier rescued, requests to dwell in the demiplane with them. He was granted the permission to bring his whole species to pack into the wasteland also. Makoto, who has always lived his life as a human, eventually gets tired of being surrounded by different species and is driven to see more humans like him. Before embarking on that expedition, his first servant suggests he gives them a name and also allow the people to address him as a young master. The two servants also brought in their own clan species so as to reside in the demiplane also. So apparently, the inhabitants of the wasteland have expanded greatly as Makoto is their overall leader. All creatures living within are grateful to him. The young master, however, gets on a trip to visit a human village he sighted. He gets a massive rejection in response as it was a letter explained that his aura is too scary for the humans. The dwarf craftsman makes a special equipment that can conceal his mana so he would seem normal. After a month, Makoto and his team are granted into the human village after hiding their true powers so well. Having settled at the humans' land already, everything seems to be going well for them. By nighttime, the young master and his second servant come across a young girl who is homeless because of her missing elder sister. The first servant helps to fight off thieves who came to sneak their things. After Makoto is given a lead on the missing sister of the little girl, he sends his servants out to help her at once after sensing her location. They set out to rescue the girl and find her location easily. Through magic, they revive her back to life as she is already losing consciousness. The strongest adventurer of the whole human village, however, poses to go up against the servants for rescuing her. Meanwhile, the minions of the strongest adventurer have already set up the little girl to steal gold from Makoto in exchange for releasing her elder sister. She is really conflicted by this, as she decides she doesn't want to steal, but wants her sister's freedom at the same time. Back at the fighting scene, the adventurer and his team actually underestimate the power of the young master's servants as they are given the biggest blow ever. Arguing who left more damage on the miscreants and a bit of test of power, the two raise the whole village down to ashes. Makoto, his team, and a few left from the disaster of the razed village venture to another human village to settle. During the journey, they encounter rare monsters twice. The second time, the young master handles it himself and they mine the important parts of their body as it is considered raw materials. Makoto and his team have no issue settling down in the new human village whatsoever. Makoto wants to establish his own business eventually, so he sorts out for a merchant's guild. The Rembrandt Trade Company is one of the biggest of its kind, and the young master offers to trade with them. After having the trade company on his side, he proceeds further to acquire his merchant permission guild. With the way everyone overemphasized the tests were hard, it is quite easy peasy for the young master. He passes both of the written and practical tests so well. Back in the demiplane, the two servants struggle over the master's memory as it holds strange things that they are now very attached to. At night, they also drape themselves so the master would lay with them, but obviously this doesn't work out. After Makoto and the Rembrandt Trading Company have agreed to work together, he presents an alchemist for them so as to facilitate the production of the drug that would heal his trading partner's family. There are initial struggles at administering the drugs to the family that have been cursed into monsters. With the help of the young master, it becomes much easier. The man and his butler appreciates his help tremendously for now. His family is back to normal. Meanwhile, a rival group who hates the Rembrandt Trade Company entirely puts up a fight against the young master and his servants. To avoid reoccurrence of raising the whole village down, he exempts one of his servants as they try to minimize the damage. Back at the demiplane, Makoto is informed that the now inhabitants of the wasteland have been feeling down-spirited lately, reasons being that whenever they train him or his servants, they are always too strong for them. They feel that they are no match for them at all. He didn't know they were all intimidated by him all these while, so a contest match was held between a representative from the Highland Orcs and the Mist Lizards respectively for the test of strength. After the match, it is decided that the different species should be training within themselves so they can learn each other's tactics. The two servants get to register their guild in the human village, and upon re-registration, they are informed that since the former top adventurer has resigned, they need them and Makoto to train some others since they are currently short of adventurers. They in turn had familiar persons they could use for that purpose, so the first servant is put in charge over the training team. Giving them tedious tasks and short deadlines in a life-risking situation, they all excelled in the short notice of training and were ranked overall best at the end of the day. A party is thrown among the residents of the demiplanes in honor of their young master establishing his own trading company in the outside world. One by one, the inhabitants he has helped at the point of time come up to appreciate him, and soon enough it becomes a tussle as they all want to speak with him at the same time. After getting away from the crowd, he goes behind to practice his archery skills, but based on the fact that he focuses too much on it, it affects his life and puts him at risk. He is advised to stop putting much focus because his mana keeps increasing each time at a dangerous pace. Makoto and his second servant venture deep in the forest in search of the special flowers that have the special use they need it for. The ogres are the ones in charge of that region of the forest and fight them for a while until they realize they were being genuine about trading with them in exchange for their fruits. Using telepathic means of snooping, they later realize one of the ogre's master has a demon in him. This later manifests as the demon itself presents himself in his full glory and fights the young master. Being no fit for Makoto, he later calls on his first servant, who later assists him by keeping the demon in hostage. It later surrenders and fully agrees to serve Makoto as his servant, so long as he learns so much from him. The young master in return is fully interested in learning magic from him. A strong explosion disrupts their moment as the first servant suddenly collapses with a severe head injury on her head. Apparently, the humans they kept as hostages have launched an escape, and in the process of doing that, they kill two of the young master's workers. Driven by anger and hurt, Makoto kills one of the humans who masterminded the attack. He kills her without any trace of regret, and for the first time, he weighs in the action of his first intended murder. After having a peek at the memory of one of the adventurers, he realized the world is so much more than they all know it to be. The quest to go beyond the current horizon and explore the world fuels him. He decides to set off on a journey to a neutral city far off with a demon who happens to be his third and most recent servant. During the journey movement, Makoto gets sucked into the battleground by the goddess, and he realizes she sets him up in between the fight of the humans and the demons. He gets engaged in a very fierce fight with a female dragon slayer and her male assistant. They are the strongest he has ever fought, and this requires him to use up all his mana on them. The battle ended on a rough note, as his injuries are quite serious. After recovering from the effect of the unexpected attack, the young master finally sets up his trading company at the store the partnering company rented to them. Initially, the people of the human village are scared to approach when they realize the employees also compromises of demi-humans. After proving to them how harmless they were, plus their special abilities, the people no longer hold back in patronizing them, and the turn-up is very impressive. Makoto is satisfied with how everything is now running smoothly and according to the way he has imagined it to be. He does not regret creating his own city, the demiplane, and he reminisces on the persons that have helped him thus far in achieving this height. His last promise and wish, however, is to trace the root of his parents, and in achieving that, he wants to explore the world and find more undiscovered species of race. The first season of this adventurous anime ends as a celebration party is hosted to celebrate all these wins. For more anime recaps like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. As always, like and comment to help out our channel. Thanks for watching.